Local presentation of Read About It is made possible in part by a grant from Cox Communications of Oklahoma City, proud sponsor of this effort to promote reading, education, and literacy in our community.
The history of Edmond will be the topic on Read About It tonight. Hi, I'm B.J. Williams. With me is Stan Hoig to tell us about his book, Edmond, the First Century. Doug Benton will talk with Evelyn Davis. Kids Corner will feature Rosemary Zarsky. We also have Maura Wiley and Joyce Reed. Coming up, Stan Hoig.
The following public service program is brought to you by the Metropolitan Library System. And now, Read About It, with your host, B.J. Williams.
Stan Hoig is an Oklahoma author who has written many books about Oklahoma and also about Plains Indians. Today, he's here to tell us about his book, Edmond, the First Century. And Stan, I'm going to ask you, why did you decide to write about Edmond?
Well, I've been writing in the field of Oklahoma history for some time. I did a book on David L. Payne, the Oklahoma Boomer, and the Oklahoma Land Rush of 1889. And it naturally led me into where I lived, which is Edmond. And when you get into these historical subjects, you find they're all intriguing. All of them have interesting history behind them. And I had a lot of resource material, which is very helpful, the Edmond Sun and other papers. And the history of Central State was interesting and tied into that. I worked at Central State and done some writing in that area. But the founding of Edmond was interesting, and at the time I wrote this in about the 1990s, preceding 1990, was sort of the line of point of demarcation for Edmond. Edmond changed in character so much since then that I almost hate to write a book about it now. But to treat it at that point in history was very interesting to see where it had come from and where it progressed to.
Well, one of the things I enjoyed about the book in particular was the number of photographs that you were able to find. Now, you said the Edmond Sun helped you, but I'm assuming that you had other resources for the photographs.
Yes, Central State, for instance, had a very well unattended collection of pictures, and I had free access to those. And there were other people around town, old settlers, who had pictures and so on. And old pictures are fascinating. I just love to look at old historical pictures and see what, how things existed at that time, what people were involved, and so on. But there were, and the Edmond Historical Society too had some.
Okay. Well, one of the things that impressed me about this history of Edmond was that Central State, in one of its many permutations, was in Edmond almost from the beginning. I mean, they had ambitions to have a seat of higher learning right from the get-go, didn't they?
Yes, as a matter of fact, the person probably most responsible for that was Milton Reynolds, who had been a Kansas newspaper editor and had come into Guthrie with the initial run, had a newspaper there briefly before he moved over to Edmond, found the Edmond Sun, and he was very progressive and wanted to get something. All these towns wanted to be something. They had ambitions to grow and to aspire and so on. And he was aided and abetted with that by another gentleman very prominent to Oklahoma City named Klassen. And he was a young attorney in Edmond in the early days, and he did a great deal towards advancing Edmond. And there was another gentleman named Howard who was very active in procuring because they wanted to get to State University there. They didn't have quite enough political clout to do that, but they did manage to get the normal school, as it was originally called. Normal being a French word for teacher training or something associated with that. And it was a 2-year college to begin with. But the new territory needed teachers. And so it was really a very important institution. And very impoverished people from the country, young girls come in from the country and worked in Edmond just for the room and board to go to school, you know. And to get that certificate to go out and teach in the schools of Oklahoma.
Now, it fairly quickly expanded, and actually there's a wonderful photograph in here, not only of the football team that the college had, but also there's a drugstore where apparently they fought OU to a tie, and they were boasting they tied OU.
They beat OU one year,
well,
2-0.
They did beat them one, but the photograph was of the tie.
Yes.
And so, obviously, the Edmond has been very proud of its college all along.
Well, these contests between schools was a very passionate thing in those days, and the Oklahoma, when the OU players got back to Norman, they complained pretty vociferously about the young boys throwing clods of dirt at them on the way back to the train.
Oh my goodness! Well, and there are a number of photographs of swimming holes. There was one, a red dirt swimming hole that was built.
Yes, that is red dirt there, but they did have some swimming holes, and it came along later after 1900.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the things I enjoyed, and this is right at the beginning of the book, was the reporter who bribed the train engineer. Now, this is during the run, so it bribed the train engineer so she could ride on the cow catcher. I wish somebody had a photograph of that.
Well, I tell you, I did a little brochure on that, the soccer, Kentucky Daisy, and she was from Kentucky, and her uncle was a street waterer in Wichita, but she had thrown off this cloak of being a woman as much as she could. She's a frontier feminist, and she got a job at the Dallas Morning News to report the land run 1889. Well, she came down on the train from Wichita and tried to go off at Guthrie, but General Arthur MacArthur, the father of General Douglas MacArthur, was in charge of troops there, and he wouldn't let her get off because she wasn't supposed to. So she went on to Purcell and got on the train there, and then came back up through Edmond. And when she got to Edmond, she talked the engineer into letting her get on the cow catcher of the train and ride up slowly north of Edmond until she could jump off and go over and stake a claim, which she did. And then she caught the back end of the train and was pulled aboard there and went on to Guthrie, where she became, she helped write the first school code of Oklahoma and was a newspaper reporter there and a teacher.
Some really colorful characters.
She was colorful.
Yeah. And there's a wonderfully touching letter in here from the World War II era. Apparently there was a training camp of some kind outside of Edmond. There's a soldier who's writing, his 8 weeks are up, he's being shipped out, but he's writing to Edmond, telling the Edmond people how much they've appreciated their...
Yes, I knew Dorothea Mayer, who now deceased, but taught math at Central State, and she was deeply involved in that training program during World War II and taught a lot of cadets that came through here.
Mm-hmm. So Edmond was pulling its weight in World War II.
Yes, the thing about Edmond, it went from being really a frontier location with the depot out here in the middle of nowhere, and then it became a village, and then it became a town, so to speak, and now it's grown into sort of a metropolitan community that has more automobiles than it really ought to have.
Well, we could say that about a lot of places.
Yeah, I know that's true.
Yeah, I thought the streets looked better in here when there were just a few horse and buggies trotting down the...
Well, you know, we always fascinate about the past and ruminate about how wonderful the past was. We forget some of the bad parts about it. But most of us probably wouldn't want to trade the present for the past. Edmond has too many cars, but also has a lot of nice stores and shopping areas that we didn't have before, and restaurants and so on.
Mm-hmm. Well, there are little things like indoor plumbing, air conditioning,
right,
those little things that are so nice, aren't they?
Yes,
so nice to come home to. Well, now this actually just takes us up through up to about 1990, doesn't it?
Yes, did I say 18? I lose my centuries down there.
Well, mine slip a little too.
But
so.
I'm in 1990.
But it goes from from the run up through 1990.
Right.
We are out of time, but I want to thank you very much for being with us.
Well, I enjoyed it very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We've had with us today Stan Hoig. He's been telling us about Edmond, the first century. You can find it at your library and your favorite bookstore. Coming up next, we've got Doug Benton. He'll be talking with Evelyn Davis about a book Evelyn really wants to share with us.
Hello again, everybody. I'm here with Evelyn Davis today. Evelyn, you have brought what sounds like an intriguing book, something on the Muses. Tell us about it.
The title is The Lives of the Muses, 9 women and the artists they inspired.
Okay.
And it is a subject that you certainly don't get to read about every day.
Now, what exactly is the function of a muse?
The function of a muse, and it goes clear back to the original muses of Greek mythology, is to inspire an artist to acts of creativity that he might not have been able to achieve simply by his own talent.
Yeah. Now, how exactly does that work?
How it works is really a mystery. The muse is a kind of transcendent creature toward which he looks for inspiration and for a vision that draws him beyond his usual capacity. And of course, by definition, the muse herself must be a rare, wondrous creature that can draw out of him a profound work.
Well, is there anything that a muse can do to become ineffective?
Oh yes. She can become ordinary. She can marry her artist. She can bear his children. She can mop his floors. She can buy his groceries. She can descend to the ordinary and the earthbound, thus losing her mystery and her mystique.
Okay. Are there male muses? You keep saying she, her, in reference to the muse.
One traditionally associates the muse with the female. No, there are, to my knowledge, not really male muses one recognizes as such, and why is a mystery.
Oh, okay. Well, just briefly, give us an example of an artist-muse pairing.
I would say the one that comes most readily to me is the great ballerina Suzanne Farrell and the great Russian choreographer George Balanchine. Without the two, and this time they actually almost did act in tandem as one creature to create work that neither could have done alone.
Okay. It sounds like a fascinating subject, and the book again is The Lives of the Muses. It's by Francine Prose. Thank you, Evelyn, for bringing it into us. Thank all of you for listening. We'll see you again soon.
Yo, see that girl? She sets the curve in my math class. Always has her homework right. Me? I hate homework, but I gotta do it, you know? But I found out her secret. She logs on to the Metro Library website and then clicks on their homework center. I couldn't believe what they have there. Help for math, science, English, and lots of other stuff too, like encyclopedias, newspapers, magazines, even science experiments. Metro Library's homework center website is one-stop shopping. You can even find the phone number of the nearest library so you can renew your library books. Check it out. It's like having the resources of an entire bookstore right in your computer. And since it's from Metro Library, you know the information will be dependable and up to the minute. But hey, I gotta go and log on and get to work. From now on, I'm setting the curve.
With me now is Maura Wiley. She is president of the Oklahoma Writers Federation Incorporated. And I'm going to ask you, Maura, very briefly, what is the Oklahoma Writers Federation?
It is a multi-genre club. We have actually several affiliates, not only in Oklahoma, but Kansas, Arkansas, and Texas. I believe we're up to 32 different affiliates. Currently, we have about 600 members. All of them write a variety of stories and novels and nonfiction. And basically, it's just a group that came together to support writers and give them an outlet of people to talk to in the business, get advice from people more experienced than them.
And the most important thing, at least in my mind, that OWFI does every year is have that marvelous conference here in Oklahoma City, and that's coming up pretty soon, isn't it?
Yes, it's May 2nd and 3rd at the Embassy Suites Hotel here in Oklahoma City, and this will be our 35th anniversary of the conference, so we're really excited.
That's really impressive. Now, who are the people that usually come to this conference?
We try to get a nice collage of people. editors, agents, and published authors in a variety of genres, so there'll be something for everybody, no matter what they write. So it's a good place to mix and mingle with professionals in different areas.
And actually, a number of these editors and agents are available for individual meetings, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. We do offer one-on-one sessions with editor or agent of your choice generally, and it gives you a time to practice pitching to the person, and it's free of charge, so it's a nice perk of being at the conference.
Now, obviously, you have to sign up early. It's first come, first served, so the sooner you sign
Yes,
up, the
definitely.
better chance you
If
have.
you wait too late, you may not get to talk to the one you really want to.
Now, the information about the exact location at Embassy Suites, but the address, how to enroll, the cost, and all of that is available on your website, isn't it?
Yes, our web address is www.owfi.org, and we try to update it as soon as we know anything different, because things do change, unfortunately.
Right. Well, you can make all the plans in the world.
Yes, it doesn't always go as planned.
Right. Well, I don't envy you your task. The president is the chief in charge, and you've got to make sure it all goes well.
Got to keep all those plates spinning, is what I've been told.
Right. Well, very briefly, Debbie McComber will be the keynote speaker.
Yes, she is our keynote this year. She will speak Friday evening at our Famous Authors Banquet. Everyone's pretty excited about that. We do have a large grouping of romance writers, and so she's a pretty popular choice. And then Saturday evening is our awards banquet, which of course everyone is really excited to see if they've won anything.
Right. I want to thank you very much, Maura, for being with us.
Well, thank you.
We've had Maura Wiley telling us about the OWFI conference. You can find out more about it by visiting their website, www.owfi.org. Coming up next, we've got Kids Corner. Kelly Rhea will be talking with Rosemary Zarsky about a book just for young adults.
Hi, today we have Rosemary Zarsky from the Choctaw Library. You can visit the Choctaw Library and see Rosemary in person. She's brought a fabulous young adult book today. It's called A Strong Right Arm. It's by Michelle Green. And it's a fascinating book. Rosemary, tell me why it's so good.
Well, first of all, it's good because it's the biography of a very interesting person. But what I found interesting before I got tied up with the story was the author is not the person it's about, and it's still written in first person.
That is unusual for a biography.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's like Mamie Johnson was writing it herself as opposed to Michelle Green, but after a while you don't care because you just get involved in this woman. I mean, she wanted to live and breathe baseball. Only women in her generation just did not do that. We had the all-girls league that was prominent in the white culture during the war, but they didn't want non-whites in their league. So she was playing sandlot baseball and was one of the best baseball players in the leagues. And eventually she managed to work her way into the Negro leagues. And she was one of 3 women who were able to do that.
Mamie Peanut Johnson?
Peanuts her size.
Really?
Yeah, she was a very small woman, but she sure had a strong right arm that could really pack a wallop. I mean, one of the episodes they put in there is when she struck out this huge bear of a man, and they just didn't think it was possible.
Well, that's very exciting.
Oh, yeah.
So girls about 12, 16 to 16 would enjoy this
I think
most?
so.
Excellent.
I think, and younger ones that are athletic and want to feel proud about it.
Wow, what a really fascinating book then. And it's written by Michelle Green. And would you recommend that this is an easy read? Does it go fairly fast?
Yes, very fast.
Oh boy. So maybe if you have an afternoon or a weekend, you might be able to read it? Fabulous. So we'll tell everyone that they can find this, and I'm wondering if there's other books by this same author that are available.
This is her first. Oh, wait, no, she wrote one based on her mother, too, so.
So Michelle Green has 2 books that are available then. Well, great. So you can look for A Strong Right Arm by Michelle Green. It's a fascinating book. Rosemary recommends it. You can find it at your local library or at your favorite bookstore.
Thanks, Rosemary and Kelly. It's time now for the New York Times bestseller list. We'll start out with hardback fiction. Number 10 is The Confessor by Daniel Silva, Someone to Watch Over Me by Judith McNaught, Backstory by Robert Parker, The Vanished Man by Jeffrey Deaver, The Lovely Bones by Alice Sebold, The Reluctant Suitor by Kathleen Woodowis, The Jester by James Patterson and Andrew Gross, Dating Game by Danielle Steele, The King of Torts by John Grisham is number 2, and Dan Brown's The Da Vinci Code is number 1. On the nonfiction list, number 10 is Bush at War by Bob Woodard, The Devil in the White City by Eric Larson, The Hunt for Bin Laden by Robin Moore, The Hardy Boys by Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy with Michael Krugman, Dereliction of Duty by Robert Patterson, What Should I Do with My Life by Poe Bronson, Jarhead by Anthony Swofford, The Savage Nation by Michael Savage, Leap of Faith by Queen Noor is number 2, and Stupid White Men by Michael Moore is number 1. On the children's list, number 10 is High Tide in Hawaii by Mary Pope Osborne, Knocked Out by Noonga Noongas by Louise Renison, The Day My Butt Went Psycho by Andy Griffiths, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone by J.K. Rowling, Dora's Easter Basket, adapted by Sarah Wilson, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets by Rowling, The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants by Anne Brashears, Holes by Louis Sekar. Number 2 is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, and number 1 is J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Well, with me now is Doug Benton from the Metropolitan Library System and the Oklahoma Gazette. And I can see, Doug, you've got another movie book here.
I do indeed. You know, I was just thinking about the bestseller list, Michael Moore being in first place again. So I guess his embarrassing tirade at the Oscars did exactly what he wanted it to do.
Right.
Sold some copies of his book. This, however, is a book called 10 Sure Signs a Movie Character is Doomed, and Other Surprising Movie Lists by Richard Roper. Richard Roper is the guy who took Gene Siskel's place on the Ebert Siskel television program when Siskel died a few years ago. And I really don't know much about Roper as a film critic. I don't watch the program. And unless you actually buy the Chicago Sun-Times, you don't get to see Roper's work because he's not in their online edition. Which is what I look at. But the book itself is kind of interesting. It is essentially a book of lists, and there are times when you're looking at it, you think, okay, so what? You know, yes, these things happen. What Roper is best at, and where he is his funniest in here, is when he's taking potshots at movie cliches, you know, of one type or another, listing cliches, which is, you know, reflected in the title. But some of these are kind of interesting lists, and I marked them if I could find some of them here. The title, the 10 Sure Signs a Movie Character is Doomed. One of them is the popular veteran cop who has travel brochures on his desk and is a week away from retirement. Well, you know he's going to get killed before the movie is over. And other character types of that sort. Another one of his lists that I like are 10 highly stupid habits of movie people. And this includes all strange, frightening, and potentially life-threatening disturbances in the house should be immediately investigated, even if that means that a character will be walking into a dark room in her nightgown without a weapon. And usually when it's dark, characters walk backwards. I always love that, too, so they can bump into something that's standing behind them. You know, that's great. Another one of these lists of 5 things that happen in a movie home at the start of a day. Mom will cook a hearty breakfast for everyone, but no one will have time to eat. The kids will gobble a spoonful of cereal or slug down a glass of orange juice while grabbing their lunches and saying they're late for school. Okay?
Yeah,
does that sound familiar?
Yes, it does.
Movies and television in that case.
Yes, indeed.
13 great perks of being a movie character. One of them is you'll always find a legal parking place right in front of where you need to be.
And that one I am very envious of.
yeah, we all are. Your credit card can be used to unlock any door in the world when you go to pick the lock. Things like that. If you're shot in the shoulder or the knee, you just wrap it up and you keep on going. And nothing bothers you. And the last one I marked is 6 differences between the movie version of the world and the world of TV and real TV. And the last one is, in the movie version, the anchor team always consists of a distinguished white-haired gentleman who's something of a pompous jerk and a big-haired younger woman who's always perky. In reality, he says, the anchor team consists of Okay, maybe they got that one right.
Okay, very good.
But it's a lot of fun. It's a very quick read, 2 hours and you're through with it.
Great. Thanks, Doug. Coming up next, we have M.J. Vandeventer, Director of Publications at the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum. She'll be talking with Joyce Reed, Vice President of KWTV Channel 9, about a book that Joyce really enjoyed.
Joyce, welcome to Read About It.
Thanks, MJ. Thanks.
And you're reading a book that USA Today said it was a book that every CEO could not wait to buy.
David Griffin, the CEO of Griffin Communications, came into the office probably a year and a half or longer ago, long before this book was on the bestseller list, and said, I have read the best business book, Good to Great. And he ordered dozens of copies, and he got CDs and tapes, and he said there's not going to be an excuse for every manager in our company not to read this book. So, yes, it's terrific.
Well, it talks about how a company can go from good to great. What are the secrets for that?
Well, Jim Collins did a study with his team. It's like a 15-year study over 15
with
years.
A lot of major corporations.
Major corporations, to try to find out how good companies went to great and sustained it for at least 15 years. Walgreens was one, Gillette. Among the things he says is that good is the enemy of great. He talks some about how a company must have a hedgehog strategy, and tells a story about the hedgehog and how he is doggedly determined and does the same thing over and over again, and how the fox keeps trying to get trick the hedgehog and running around doing lots of different things. So he says a company must have a hedgehog strategy. You must know what you can be the best in the world at doing and have passion about that drives your economic engine.
And then do that. So what role does, say, entrepreneurial leadership and business discipline play in this strategy?
He talks a lot about level 5 leadership. A level 5 leader gets up in the morning, and if his company is successful, he looks out the window and he looks at all of the people who helped make that happen. When things go wrong, he looks in the mirror and he tries to find out what happened, but he looks in the mirror. He doesn't look outside. A level 5 leadership has a leader has a lot of humility. They found that a lot of the leaders in the companies that sustained greatness were not from outside. They grew up within the organization.
And what have you learned from this book?
The thing I've learned, I think the thing that the book makes you do is to ask, how can I apply this in my own life? What is my hedgehog strategy? I don't want to just be good. I want to be great. How am I going to achieve that? So I think it really helps you look at how to focus the company, but I think in doing so, you learn internally that you need to focus yourself.
And leadership is something that's very important to you in your position and in the community.
It is, and I think David has helped us all remember, not learn, but remember that leadership is constant learning. You constantly have to be learning and thinking about how to become a better leader. I don't think you ever get there.
Thank you so much for sharing this. Good to great, and best wishes to you, and come see us again.
Thank you so much, MJ.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Donna Morris, Executive Director of your Metropolitan Library System. You know, experts tell us it's never too early to begin reading to a child. If you spend just 20 minutes a day reading to a child, you're not only building a bond that lasts a lifetime, but you're helping that child to prepare to learn how to read. Visit us at the Metropolitan Library System and let us help you select just the right books for you and your family. And be sure and visit our website at www.metrolibrary.org.
Remember to find out everything you ever wanted to know about the Metropolitan Library System. Log on to our website at www.metrolibrary.org. It has all of our programs and all of our locations and services. You can find out everything about them. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you again next time.
Local presentation of Read About It is made possible in part by a grant from Cox Communications of Oklahoma City,